Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Dylan McFry and I am an employee here at Gordon Central High School in Calhoun, Georgia. And I'm here today to offer you some instruction and hopefully to change your mind about some different assessment opportunities that we can use for our students. Many of you might be using your own type of assessment, and that's okay, but I hope to show you a couple of good options that you could be using in your own classroom. And those two options today are Quizlet and Kahoot. Now, I'll start with Quizlet and give you some of the good information about that. Why I chose Quizlet as a tool or a technology tool to show all of you is that Quizlet is a great way for students not only to keep up with the specific vocabulary of a certain class, but also to master course content as they go along. As you can see here, this is loaded up with my study sets for vocabulary for an environmental science class. So for instance, if I click on Chapter 3, the Dynamic Earth, get that out of the way, and we have here, you see there's a flashcard that says Geosphere. You click the card and it flips over and gives you the definition. So students can have time using Quizlet to practice with the class's vocabulary, and they can go all around with crust, mantle, core, lithosphere, and each time they want to practice learning these words, they can just click and do that. There are also other ways. There's different learning modules available. You can answer every term correctly twice to finish, so you can go in and almost as in a quiz way, so it actually sets them up like quizzes that you can do. There's even games that you can do. You can play a matching game in which it times how quickly you can match the word with the definition. You can even play a gravity destroyer type game in which you have to type the answer out as the word or phrase approaches you. So if mantle approaches, you'd have to type the definition before it reached a certain point. Otherwise, you will lose the game. So Quizlet, I find, is a very effective tool in helping assess student learning at certain points throughout the semester, especially as you go from chapter to chapter. So this could be used on review days for tests. It could be used on days in which you are reviewing material that was covered in a previous lesson. So it's a great way for students to work together and practice these vocabulary terms. It would be very beneficial for students because it would give them the opportunity to make sure that they're staying on top of the information as you go along, especially in a class like a environmental science or a biology where there's a lot of information and it builds off each other. So you'll be able to go back and practice with that as you go. Now the other technology example that I have listed here is Kahoot. And Kahoot is a very big hit amongst students. Most students have used it before, but I'm here to convince you why you should adopt it in your own classroom. Kahoot essentially is a test set up, and you can fill it in with any information that you like, and it allows students the opportunity to answer test questions, and they are timed, and it gives them an opportunity to test their knowledge for whatever is being reviewed on a given day. I chose this tool because, as I said, it's a fantastic tool for students to use in review, similar to Quizlet. Quizlet and Kahoot are both very similar in that they help students review, and they're also similar in that they can serve as either formative or summative assessments. Whereas Quizlet tends to be more on the formative side. Quizlet works very much better as a study as you go tool, in which as you progress from different chapters and different study sets, it helps you to review the vocabulary and the class material as you go. Whereas Kahoot can serve more as a summative assessment in which it measures how much students have learned in a given time. Here on the screen, I've brought up a quiz or a test set that has to do with the class of biology, and it's specifically over photosynthesis and respiration. You see it's loaded up with 36 questions, and you can have an opportunity to sign up or create your own account. Most students have one, or you can play as a guest. And what will happen is you can set this up either in a team versus team shared devices mode, so students can team up and work in groups to answer these questions, or they can go one-on-one. And if we hit classic, it places, excuse me, sorry about the noise. You place, it gives students a code, and it allows them to join a Kahoot game. And then once you have a certain amount of people go, you can hit start. I do not believe it's going to let me start here. Perhaps I can use my phone to join, and it will allow me to get the game over to a starting point. So students will use their phones, and when they have the pin, they enter the game pin. And once that is done, they'll select a nickname, or they'll just put their first name. I've entered my own name. So now you can hit start. And as you go, it presents the question to them. Organisms such as plants that make their own food are called. And then it presents the answers, and they have to correctly tap whichever of these symbols they think the correct answer is on their phone. So if they think the answer is autotrophs, and they have to hit the red triangle. And you see there, it will display all class results either when the timer runs out or when everyone has answered the question. So you'll see at the end of time, it doesn't show who missed what. It simply shows how many people got an answer correct. So it presents an immediate opportunity to review the material that you've done so far. And it is a great assessment tool. Both Quizlet and Kahoot are fantastic ways to review class material. I believe Quizlet is a better formative assessment in which you can assess how students are picking up vocabulary as you progress in a class, whereas Kahoot can serve as a review tool but also as a summative assessment. You could even place this and use this as an assessment tool for a grade book or some other type of assessment that you are looking to do. So I believe that they work very well together. They're similar in that they serve as assessment types, and they can also serve as great review for classroom material. I do believe, as I said, the difference is the type of assessment that they can serve as. I think that students in the classroom can use these for review as we go, and it'll be very beneficial for students in helping them study, whereas maybe just writing definitions wouldn't do such a good job. So thank you for listening, and I hope that you'll consider using both of these assessment tools, technology sources in your class. Again, my name is Mr. Dylan McFry. Thanks for listening.